Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. I am going to be here with the pup today. He just wants to say hello. This big mop of a dog. Anyway, I'm here today to do another video for my first year teacher series. This is not necessarily just for first year teachers. I think this is a great video for any teacher, but I'm just going to add it to my first year teacher series. So I have a full flexible seating classroom and I switched over last year, so I've had it for one school year. And so I'm going to be sharing some ideas on how to get a flexible seating classroom for basically free or like very minimal cost. So if you're interested in how to achieve a full flexible seating classroom, then just keep watching. Okay, so if you don't know what a flexible seating classroom is, maybe I should start there. A flexible seating classroom is basically a classroom where you allow your students to kind of sit where they can work best. And hey, I usually don't let him in here when I'm filming, but he scratches at the door and I feel kind of sad. But he's tired, so I feel like if I just let him be, then I wish I could show you guys his face right now. He looks so cute. Anyway, so a flexible seating classroom is basically you allow your students to sit anywhere that they please, that they would work the best. So you kind of teach them the routine of like, you need to pick a spot where you can do your best. So I always use the like example of I go home every day and I don't work at my desk. I have a desk at home and like I don't ever sit at it. I don't feel comfortable at my desk. I feel comfortable sitting on the couch with my laptop on my lap, and that's like where I get the most work done. So I always tell the students that, you know, like just because you are like supposed to sit at a desk every day doesn't mean that that's the best place for you to be working. So we start off with that, and you can allow your students to have just different places to sit, giving them different options rather than a typical desk and seat. Then you can offer different things. So there's so many different ways you can do it. I'm not going to go into like how I use flexible seating in my classroom. If you want that for a video, I can film that in a separate video, but I do just want to talk today about some ideas of how you can achieve a flexible seating classroom for very little cost. So I feel like a lot of people think that they can't do flexible seating because they think it's going to be really expensive. And they're not wrong. They can be very expensive. So I got a grant over a year ago now for my classroom last year. So it's summertime. And so my last class I got a grant for $5,000, and then I got an extra $1,000 from my school to cover like shipping costs and stuff. So I was able to spend $5,000 in my classroom, and I spent it all on flexible seating. So no, you don't have to spend that. Do you get some like maybe cooler options? Yeah, but it's not necessarily like necessary. So I was able to get like all new tables for my classroom. I was able to get all new seating, like everything in my classroom was revamped. So you don't have to go that far. I could have done I did flexible seating the year before that. Not a full flexible seating classroom, but I did it at certain parts of the day. And I maybe spent like $50 of my own money buying stuff for my students to be able to use. So my tips on how to kind of achieve this without really spending much money is first to go to like OfferUp, Craigslist, yard sales. I kind of put those all in like one category because it's all like used goods basically. So a lot of times on any of those like different things, people are willing to give you stuff for free as long as they know it's for a classroom. So a lot of times people will, if they find out that you are going to be using it in your classroom, a lot of times they will either A, discount the price like tremendously, or B, just give it to you because they want to support teachers and they want to support classrooms. So I kind of learned that trick from my friend, Hello Third Grade on Instagram. She's not on YouTube, but she had posted something about getting some chairs, and she said she went to go pick them up and the person was like, just take them, like I don't want to take any money from you, it's for your classroom, like I really support teachers, blah blah blah. So So she got them for free. So I kind of tried it just to see. I tried on OfferUp messaging people for like either a discounted price. I would just say like, hey, I'm going to use this for my classroom. I have a flexible seating classroom. I teach at this school, which is like in, you know, the area. So people would kind of like be like, oh, I know that school, sort of thing. And if you follow my vlogs, you will have seen I got 5 stools. They're like homemade type stools, and they were listed for $30, and the guy was like, take them, it's all like, you can have them, they're for your classroom, I don't really care. I was like, they're just taking a broom in my house anyway, and he gave them to me for free. So there's been a lot of other people who like I've offered a price that's pretty like low, and people probably wouldn't have taken that price, but the fact that I was a teacher and I told them it was for my classroom, they were a lot more willing to go down in price. So check there, because a lot of times, like I said, you can get stuff for really cheap, especially at yard sales. If you kind of just search yard sales in your area, people, I mean, they're willing to give stuff to you. So you might as well, not like necessarily take advantage, but like you might as well use it. If people are willing to give stuff to teachers and educators and students, you might as well like take it. Another really cool like idea is just to use some of the stuff that you already have. So when I first tried flexible seating in my classroom, I basically went around my house and found things that I wasn't really using for myself, and then I figured out like different ways I could use things. For example, I had a yoga mat that I never used because I don't do yoga, and so I used that. I used it like sometimes for like at home workouts, but I can just as easily use like a towel or something. It's not a big deal. So I figured I'd rather use it in my classroom, so I cleaned it all up, and then I ended up cutting it into 2, and that was 2 pieces of flexible seating. Now, just a yoga mat, it doesn't seem like a lot, but for kids, that's like a huge deal to be able to sit on the ground and like lay on something. That's huge for them. So although it doesn't seem like a lot, I feel like the kids will just like go for it anyway, so you might as well. And then like I know the person who worked in the classroom next to me, he had brought a bunch of pillows that he had from a couch that maybe they like got rid of or something, I don't know, and the kids like would just use those pillows, and they were like good pillows, and he didn't have to pay anything for them because it was something that he already had at home. So just kind of look around, because a lot of times if you kind of just give some stuff some TLC or figure out a way that kids could use it, then like you have stuff that is already yours and you can just bring it to your classroom. I think one of the biggest things to remember is that flexible seating can be as easy as letting the kids sit on the ground and use a clipboard. Flexible seating does not have to be, oh, I have wobble stools and I have beanbag chairs and I have this and I have that. Yes, that's cool, and it's like makes for a really cool classroom. Like I love my classroom and I would never change it, but that wasn't something I had to pay for. That was something that was just offered through my district, and I took advantage of it. But it doesn't have to be like this crazy setup. It can be as simple as a student asking if they can go sit underneath a table over in the corner of the room because they just want a quiet area. Letting a kid sit on the floor with a clipboard because they just don't feel comfortable sitting in a seat. Letting a kid stand at their desk rather than forcing them to, you know, sit down. So I think a lot of times people get wrapped up in the fact that like it has to look all fancy and look all crazy. It really doesn't. Flexible seating is not about having the most beautiful classroom with the coolest stuff. Flexible seating is about allowing students to sit where they feel the most comfortable. And another tip, which I'm kind of just like thinking as I'm going, is a lot of times students will kind of come up with their own flexible seating options, and I just kind of went with it. So like some of my students would turn the stools that we have, like they're just like the IKEA stools, they would turn them on their side and then sit like in the legs of them and then put a clipboard like on the top 2 legs. It looked so uncomfortable, but they like loved it because they could sit back and then they had their little like area, and that was something that they just thought of on their own, and like it worked, and like I don't really care. So stuff like that. And then they started just finding like little areas of the room that they like to sit in, and I kind of almost just like let them go for it and see, and then you can always reel them back in, but let them go for it and just let them get comfortable and see what they like. So my last tip is not necessarily like finding stuff, but ask parents. So a lot of times parents are willing to donate stuff, especially if you ask at the beginning of the year and you kind of explain the purpose of it. They may be like you and have some like random pillows or random like seating things sitting around their house that they don't want anymore, sitting in their garage, and they may be more than willing to either donate that stuff to the classroom or even go out and purchase stuff for the classroom. So it kind of depends on where you work. I think if you work in a low income area, you may not be as like, what's the word? They may not be as willing to donate stuff, just the nature of the game. But if you work in an area where it's a little bit higher income, I know my friend, she gets a lot of stuff donated from parents because she does work in an area where where people just are at a higher income. So she has asked for donations before, and parents have like more than happily donated like yoga balls and like so many other things, and they're like happy to do it because it's for their child. And then another thing kind of going along with that is you can always create a donors choose project and figure out what some stuff that you want, and then ask for parents to donate money, or ask, you know, like people you know to donate money, and people are a lot of times more than willing to donate, because with that they can donate as low as like a couple bucks and they at least feel like they've contributed, and then you can, you know, just find stuff that's like not super expensive to get it funded quickly. So a couple different options you could do there. So then you could get some of that cooler stuff to make a classroom look cooler. So just remember, like, flexible seating is not for everyone. I know a lot of people who don't do flexible seating or are not interested in doing it at all and just like having a typical desk and chair. So don't feel like it's something that you have to do. If you're not ready to take that on, don't take it on, because it really is a huge like task to take on as a first year teacher. I don't think I could have done it as a first year teacher, to be quite honest, because you have to set so many different expectations. And like I said, if you want me to do a separate video on like how I do flexible seating in my classroom, I've done like a vlog style video about just talking about my flexible seating and how I got it, what I got. And then if I like it or not, which obviously I do, that was in, I think, my Vlogmas, so you can find that somewhere in my videos. I can link it in a card somewhere. But just realize that you don't have to. I do think it really is beneficial for students, and I think that they really truly like it. It cut down a lot on my classroom behaviors and my classroom just like focus this year, I think. I'm kind of excited to try it for another year to see, to make sure that it wasn't just like my students that I had last year that were really good. It could have just been like, you know, a coincidence that it was an awesome year because of the fact that maybe they were just like a really good group of kids, so they handled the flexible seating really well. But I really do think that it helped just cut down on like students being not engaged and little tiny behaviors and stuff like that. So that is my 2 cents on flexible seating in a nutshell. So if you want me to do that other video, make sure you leave a comment down below, and then I can do something with that. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you have any other tips or tricks on how to get some free flexible seating, leave a comment down below so other people can see your tips as well. And I think that's it. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. I love to post pictures of my classroom, so make sure you follow me over there. Make sure you check out our teacher tees. The link is always down below. And I think that is actually it. Make sure you subscribe, and I will catch you guys in my next video.